Hi there, this is Ronnie. Let's get this angle right. Someone was telling me I should do a better angle. Maybe that's better. Okay. So, the video we're going to talk about cancer and the raw vegan diet and the raw vegan movement and everything. So, cancer, of course, one of the biggest killers. It is a people killer. It is a human being killing disease. It is either the first or second, depending on the country. In terms of developed countries, Western countries, where there are no, and some of the higher income Asian countries and so on around the world, it's either the number one or number two killer. Now, usually heart disease and heart complications are basically the number one killer. If you put all those together, heart disease is way out in front and things to do with heart. But number two usually is cancer. There's so many different types of cancer, of course, so we're basically putting a lot of different things into the same description, but it's classed as the same thing. And cancer has been killing people for who knows how long. Hundreds of years, thousands of years. I believe the descriptions of cancer go way, way back. Cancer also affects animals, and different to what some people might suggest, cancer, as far as I'm aware, affects animals even in nature, in the natural environment, and certainly affects pets. So at the very least it affects pets, and I believe it affects wild animals as well. So cancer is something that kills living animals, and it is a big problem in the human race, of course, as well. I've seen statistics and information suggesting that there's far more cancer now than there used to be, and definitely far more people die from cancer than used to. But that could be potentially linked to the fact that people died of other things earlier in those days, and that people are living longer in different things. So I'm not 100% clear in some of those pieces of information, but essentially there's a lot of cancer. There's a lot of people dying of cancer. There's a lot of people having to have operations and therapies to try and fight their cancer. So people becoming partially, I wouldn't say disabled, but having body parts removed, having things cut off, and all these things because of cancer. Of course, we see some really sad cases of people with facial cancers having parts of their face removed and stuff, which is obviously traumatic to people. So cancer is a really big deal, very, very serious, of course, and something that, as far as we're aware, we do not have an answer to. We do not have an answer to it. We do not have a cure to cancer. We do not have some simple cure. And going back over 100 years, legislation started to be put in place that basically made it illegal to advertise that you could cure cancer, or claim publicly that you could cure cancer, or that you had a cure for cancer. Why did this happen in countries around the world? These acts to stop people promoting information that they could cure cancer, they had a solution, because there was so much immoral, fraudulent, criminal behaviour, essentially, of different things being sold. This is the basis, the foundation of the supplement industry is the human being's belief and willingness to buy into magic, willingness to buy into nonsense, willingness to buy into the easy, simple solution to a major, big, complex problem, and people's bias against doctors, their bias against pharmaceutical companies, the government, biased against big corporations, and their lack of acceptance sometimes that there simply might not be a solution. That when you've been told that you've got cancer, that there's a chance you might die, that there is a chance that might happen, and potentially there's nothing you can do about it. And that leads a lot of people, and obviously the imminent fear of death and the urgency which that provokes puts people in a state and in a place where they're very open to being manipulated, to buying products, to buying into things, to buying into services in which people are claiming that they can help cure the cancer. And we simply do not have a cure, as far as I'm aware, for most types of cancer. Do we have some solutions that work quite well for certain types of cancer in certain situations for certain people? Obviously we do. There are certain cancers that obviously aren't terminal, that don't actually kill people, that people can live with for long periods of time. There are cancers that respond better to surgery or to other treatments. There are cancers that, if they're caught early enough, that there's a high likelihood of the person surviving. There are other cancers that are very terminal, and it's very, very unlikely that people will recover from it. So we need to understand that it's a complex issue. There's many different stages to cancer. There's different types of cancer, and obviously there's different places where the person is at within themselves. Where are they in their health, in their journey of health, healing? How open are they to making any changes if it would even help? And the other thing to say is that there is no proof, there is no scientific evidence apart from potentially, I believe there might be a Dean Ornish study on prostate cancer potentially, although prostate cancer is often not terminal anyway, but no proof that cancer can be reversed through diet. There is no information out there to point towards that. There is no evidence. There is no study. If you know better, please put the information below, because I'm happy to be wrong on that. I'm happy if someone tells me, no, there was a study on the raw vegan diet and everyone survived of this type of cancer. I'm happy to see that. There are some studies of things like tumours in petri dishes, or cancerous cells disappearing because of the presence of like fruits and vegetables and stuff, and vegan blood is better for helping deal with cancer. There's stuff like that. But in terms of like an actual study that's saying, here's some people that had cancer, we put them on this diet, they survived, or they did better. As far as I'm aware, there isn't that information. This is where I'm at, and as I say, I'm open to you telling me, actually there is, here's the evidence, great. Put it down below so everyone can see it, and I'm happy to then make another video saying, I'm wrong, there's a bunch of information here. Now, a lot of you are going to be watching this and you're going to be saying, you're going to not agree with me on all this, and you're going to be thinking, how can you, someone that talks about the raw vegan diet for reversing disease, how can you not think that cancer can be reversed? How can you not think that the pharmaceutical companies and the chemotherapy and all these things are, how come you don't think that these are all terrible bad things that people shouldn't do? What makes you think the surgery is a good idea and all this kind of stuff? Surely it's just raw food, fasting, that'll do it, that'll get you off cancer. Well, the reason that I don't believe that, or that I don't quickly, hastily put ideas like that across, firstly, I want to be responsible. I'm not out here to give people expectations. I'm not here to give you high expectations of that, of getting a result like that if you're watching this and you've got cancer or know someone that does. I'm not here to give you false ideas, false hope, false dreams, false expectations, and I'm absolutely certainly not here to tell you I know better than your oncologist who knows everything about your medical records, everything about your medical history, who's studied the type of cancer that you have, who's had 100 different patients or 1,000 different patients, has seen every single different thing go on, has looked at exactly where you're at, done all the testing, is an expert on that, and has given you an opinion. For me to then say, no, all that's bullshit, throw that out and do a raw vegan diet, that is absolutely crazy. That is crazy talk. If anyone does that, run a mile from them. And if anyone tells you, here is a bunch of alternative therapies that work better, and the reason that we don't do these in hospital is because the pharmaceutical companies can't make any money from them, because they are all about profit and they can't patent this because it's natural and a natural thing doesn't make any money and people die from cancer and it's better to keep them on chemotherapy, which is really expensive. Bullshit. I cannot believe that I can understand all of us as we naively got into this movement that we thought that we believed in things like that people told us stories like that and we bought into it. I get it. We maybe all thought it at some point. But for someone that is some people who are leaders in this movement, who have been studying this information for many years, to put across ideas like that in front of audiences of people who they don't know may have cancer or not, and for them to say, oh, there's all these natural cures that work better. No, they're not. No, there are not. At least they're not being proven. Oh, but they've not been tested. The money's not there for it. The pharmaceutical companies don't test these things. They can't make any money out of it. This is absolutely false as well. The alternative medical movement, alternative health movement, is a close to $200 billion industry. No money. It's not that there's no money, there is no desire there for them to do the testing. Why? Because they're quite happy to sell bullshit products that don't work. Bullshit supplements that do nothing. Just nonsense. And all they do is again and again, they just play into people's fears. The doctors don't know what they're doing. The pharmaceutical companies are evil. Here's a natural thing that works better. Rubbish. These people are lying to you. They are manipulative. It is dangerous. It is bad information. And for raw food people to have bought into it, I can understand people buying into it to some degree, but when you're on a raw food diet, you're kind of meant to be a bit sharper than that up here and not buy into marketing nonsense. So when people buy into marketing nonsense, conspiracy stories, every conspiracy theory documentary is a marketing documentary. Wise up. Wise up. It's not been... When you see something with that kind of production value, do you know how much money's been put into that? There is a product at the end of that, whether you realise it or not. So, it's for me, the raw food movement has to grow up, and the raw vegan movement. We cannot be saying there's natural cures to cancer when there patently isn't. And the idea that these things have been tested, there has been over £2 billion, and some of you are going to ask me, where do you get these numbers from? Just go to the Wikipedia article on alternative health, alternative medicine. It's all there, all the sources for this information, all the links if you want to go and check. Over $2 billion in the US alone has been spent on testing alternative health remedies and methods. They've not been proven to work. If they had been, they would be in the hospital being used. There's not some big conspiracy stopping people from these alternative treatments. They just don't work. And in our urgency to cure ourselves sometimes, we want to believe so much that they work, that we will hang on to other people's stories rather than hanging on to evidence, real evidence. And so here's where I get to another point. There are people who have done various things and have cured their cancer. Absolutely. There are people that have had cancer and then the cancer went away. But there are people that have had cancer and the cancer went away that didn't do any alternative method, that didn't change their diet one bit, that didn't add in weird supplements and all that. They were just lucky and something happened and their body somehow managed to deal with it. And we don't understand it fully. Or perhaps all of those people changed their diet. Perhaps they did, but we don't have the information to know for sure. So we've got all these stories of spontaneous remission, but guess what? Let's say we've got 1,000 stories of spontaneous remission, or 1,000 stories of people saying, I changed my diet and my cancer went away. I did this and my cancer disappeared. I did this. That's great. But when you put that up to 1 million people that tried all sorts of things as well and they all died, we cannot then say, well, that means the one person that survived, they did something right, they did something better. And people get so arrogant about this, it's just beyond belief. The amount of people that say things like, well, the reason someone got cancer, they had a good diet and everything, but they were just so negative about themselves that they manifested cancer. How disgusting is that when someone says something like that? I've heard people say that. Oh, they manifested cancer because of their negativity. I was once sitting with a man, he was telling me about his wife died of cancer. And he said that he would be in the cancer, the hospice or whatever. And he said he saw some of the most positive, kind, loving, positive people who believed they were going to survive, who believed, and he said, didn't matter. They died as well, And a lot of people don't want to accept that reality. We're all at risk of this. At the end of the day, none of us get out of life alive. But, of course, but we also don't want to put ourselves in a position where we die because of omission or because of action, because we get cancer and then there is a solution and we just don't take it. Because we think we know better. No, doctor, I'm not going to do the surgery or whatever. I'm going to do a raw vegan diet. I'm going to juice. That's going to do it. Well, I just think that's completely irresponsible. So there are amazing stories of a few people, and here's where it gets to the raw vegan community. I've been to more events than most people. I've met more raw vegans. I've met more people at these events. Last 7 or 8 years, 25, 30 festivals. Each one of them, at least 50 to 100 people, maybe more. That's thousands of people I've met. Then online, then books, then all this stuff. Then asking many people, have you heard of people that have other experts, how many people have you met that have healed cancer through a raw vegan diet? And I don't get many answers. There are a few people. I don't get many answers than that. I don't get many answers about fasting curing cancer either. A friend of mine claims that Herbert Shelton, who's probably fasted more people than anyone almost in history, he claimed that he never saw anyone cure cancer through fasting. This is a guy that fasted thousands of people. He said the only people that cured cancer through fasting were the people who had been misdiagnosed. Now, that is a quotation attributed to Herbert Shelton that a friend of mine who has been in the raw food movement for a long time passed on to me. I've not got the proof of that statement. But if it is correct, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is correct, kind of an amazing thing, to be honest, to think about that the person that fasted more people in history did not know of anyone, or very few people that fasted and were able to get rid of cancer that way. We're not seeing that. We're not seeing that consistently. And the stories that I've heard in this movement of people giving up cancer, there are a few people that didn't really do anything apart from change diet and do a few things. But the vast majority did something else and changed their diet. So it wasn't a case of they just changed their diet. It was a case of they got surgery and they changed their diet. They did hormone treatment and they changed their diet. They did all the conventional treatment and they changed their diet. That's really what we've seen. And I would like to believe in the miracle of people getting cancer and then doing a raw vegan diet and then just disappears. It would be great if that happened, but we don't see that. We don't see that. And the people that say, I cured my cancer, like, you got an operation to cut the cancer out. And the biggest example of that is a guy who totally went viral a number of years ago, Chris beat cancer. And I've got nothing against this guy. Well, I kind of do, but Chris beat cancer is his website. And his story is about how the doctors told him to do chemotherapy and he said it just seemed wrong to him, and so he decided to do like fruits and vegetables. He did a raw vegan diet for a while and he never, the cancer never returned. Great, fantastic. And if that is the case, maybe that's great. But he also got the cancer cut out. And then he kind of acts like it was nothing to do with the surgery and it's actually all to do with the diet. And I've seen people say, man, I wish I'd heard about the diet before I got the cancer cut out. No, you don't wish, because you would have died probably. Like, this weirdness that people say, oh yeah, I got the tumour taken out, but actually it was the raw vegan diet that cured it. Like, what? No, I think it was someone going physically into your body, removing it, and then you made a change and that helped. But you got to understand, like a tumour takes years to develop, right? Your body's fighting it for years. It gradually builds or whatever happens. And it's like a massive thing. And then you think that it's just going to go away overnight on a raw vegan diet. So basically I would never, ever, ever come out to any of you and say, you can cure cancer in this diet. I've seen people in the raw movement die of cancer. I've seen people try and do this and avoid standard treatments. And they avoided the standard treatment and died. And potentially, if they actually went through the standard treatment, potentially they would still be here. And that is what scares me. So we have a moral duty to not be giving people false expectations. So thanks for listening to the video. Leave your comments down below. I'm running out of time here, so I need to on the video, so I need to stop it a little bit early. I might make another video on it, but my position is very clear. Raw vegan diet is not a panacea for everything. If you want to help prevent cancer, eat more fruits and vegetables. Certainly will help prevent it. Is not a definite cure. Thank you very much for watching.